Hi guys, this is Ajut. So we are going to be solving today's LeetCode question, which is meeting 3. We are given the number of rooms and then we are given the meeting, which is like start and end time of the meeting. So we need to find the room which will held most number of meetings. So that is the question. And then we are given certain type of condition, which are three conditions. Suppose let's say one of the meeting starts at start I and then it will end at end I, and then we need to schedule these meetings in the rooms which are like n rooms are present. And then three conditions are, suppose let's say we have three or four rooms which are unused. Now we want to schedule one meeting, so we'll pick the room which has the lowest number. So that is one condition. And then if there are no available rooms, then we'll wait till one of the room becomes free, and then after the room becomes free, then we'll allocate that particular room with the meeting, and then the duration should be same. And then when the room becomes unused, the meetings, let's say the room becomes empty, then we want to allocate a particular meeting to the room. Then we'll pick the meeting which starts at uh, very earliest start time. So let's take one example so that we can understand better. So let's take this particular example. Let's say we have two rooms. There are two rooms with uh, there are two rooms which is room 0 and then room 1. Now this is empty on, and now this is also empty. Now let's say we will pick the, as it is given that we need to start with lowest and then we need to allocate the meetings based upon start time. So let's sort the meetings based upon start time. And then after that, when we want to pick one particular meeting, we'll pick the meeting and then we'll pick the room. As we can see, room 0 and room 1 is empty. So we'll allocate room 0. Why? Because we should pick the lowest number, which is lowest number room, which is empty. So we'll pick this and then we'll start at 0 and then we'll end at 10. And then we'll move to, so the number of meetings which held at this will be, meets will be 1. Why? Because we had allocated one meeting. So and then we'll move to the next meeting. So 1 to 5. So at one time we'll start allocating in this room. Why? Because this is empty. So it will start at 1 and it will end at 5. So and then let's say we want to allocate this particular meeting which is 2 to 7, but at 2 at the time 2, no room is empty. So we should wait till one of the room gets emptied. So which room will get empty first? Which is room 1. Why? Because it will end at 5, at the time 5. So we'll start at 5, and then when should we end? We'll end after duration of 5 time. So 5 plus 1, 5 plus 5, which will be 10. And then we'll move to the next meeting, which is 3 to 4. So here the number of meets will be, this will be 10. The number of meets will be 2. And then let's say we will move to next meeting, which will start at 3. But at that time 3 both are used. So we'll wait till 10, and then after 10 both becomes empty. So this will become empty, this will become empty. So as both of them are empty, we'll pick the least number room, which will be, we'll start at 3 and then we'll end at 11. Why? Because 4 minus 3 is 1, so the duration is 1. So we will pick this particular room. So the number of meets will be 2. So we need to find the room number which will have most number of meets. As it is given that both meets are same, we need to pick the least number, which will be 0. So if we see this particular example, the room number will be 0. So this is the question. We need to solve this question like in the least time complexity and then with the better optimized solution. So if we see the constraint, the meeting's length is 10 power 5 and then n is 100. So we need to move from one meeting to another meeting, and then first we need to sort the meeting. Why? Because it will the meetings which will pick based upon the start time. So we'll sort the first. After sorting, we need to we need to get the rooms which are unused, unused or empty. Like there is no meeting is going on that particular room, empty room. And then let's say uh, we have 0, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the empty rooms. So out of these empty rooms, we should pick the least number room. So as we can see, we are given that we should pick the least number room which is empty. So we'll pick 0. So let's say we have different different empty rooms. So we'll pick the number which is least. So we'll be using min heap for this, so that we'll get the minimum room which is empty. And then there can be different scenarios. Like let's say we'll start at some particular time and then we'll end at some particular time. So after starting and then ending, we need to get rid of the sum of the meetings which is already done. So let's say we have rooms meeting and we have start time. So there can be empty rooms. There can be empty rooms. If there are no empty rooms, then we should make let's say if there are no empty rooms, if there is an empty room, we can pick the room and allocate the room with meeting. Suppose let's say we don't have any room empty, so we'll see if the meeting completed in the room meetings. We'll see if the meeting is completed in the room meetings with start time of meeting. And then if these are present, then we'll add to the empty rooms. So whenever we come across the meetings which can be completed before the start time of current meeting, then we'll add to the empty rooms. And then there can be one more scenario. We should wait for the room meeting to be completed. So we should wait for the room to be completed, which is like whatever the room meetings are present, we should wait for that particular room, which is the least particular room, and then after it becomes completed, then we will add it to the our particular rooms list. So let's go through the code so that we'll understand better. So first I'll take the number of meetings, which is n plus 1. So this will store the number of meetings which will be held in particular room, and then I had assigned to 1, all of them to 0, and then first I'll sort the meetings so that it will start with the least start time, and then I have taken room meetings which will store the meetings end time. It will store the um, meetings which will end at some particular time with the room number. This will be the structure, and then empty rooms will store the room numbers which are empty right now. Okay, now let's say this is the empty rooms, and then these are the meetings which is going on, and then it will end at some particular time with this particular room number. So at the starting we can say that the empty rooms will be, all of them will be empty. So we'll add all the rooms to the empty rooms, and then we'll start at 0th meeting, and then we'll move till the end of the meeting. Let's say we have room meetings, and then the starting time of this particular meeting is greater than or equal to the room meetings which is going on, which will end at some particular time. So let's say we want to start at this particular time, then there can be some of the meetings which is already completed. So whenever the room meetings which is already completed, so we'll try to remove from the room meetings, and then we'll add it into the empty room. Why? Because the meetings are already completed at this particular time. So let's add it into the empty rooms, and then we'll remove the room meetings which is going on, and then we need to allocate the room for this particular meeting. So there can be two scenarios. One of the scenario is, let's say the empty rooms are, let's say empty rooms are not present. If the empty rooms are not present, then we need to use whatever the room meetings which is going on. We need to wait for that particular room meeting to be ended. So we'll wait till the room meetings of first, it will end at some particular time. This will be some start time. This will end at this particular time, and then the room meeting is going to be held upon the second room, which is this is the room number. So we'll be incrementing this, and then we need to wait for some particular time. That particular time is start time, which is like it will end at this particular time. This is room meetings dot top dot first, and then the duration will be same thing, meetings of I1, and then meetings of I0, and then this is going to be the room number, room meeting stop dot second. This will be the room number. So we'll be pushing the room number, and then we'll be popping whatever the uh, room meetings which we want to remove. uh, and then one more case will be, let's say we want to, the empty rooms is not empty. If it is not empty, then we'll pick the meeting room which is empty with the least number, and then we'll try to pop the empty rooms, and then we will increment the number of meetings which is going on that particular room. and then we are going to add it into the room meetings with the meetings of I and then 1, and then it is going to be on this particular room number. And then at last we'll go through all the all the rooms, and then we'll see how many number of meetings which is held on that particular room, and then we'll store the maximum meetings and then room number, and then at last we are going to return the room number. So that is a solution for this. I'm taking priority queues so that it will pick the room number which will end very faster, and then if it ends at some particular time, then it is going to pick the number which will have the least number. So this is going to be the min heap. So it will be giving us the minimum elements which are minimum of all the elements which is present. So if we have pair, then it is going to be sorted on the first and then the second, and then we'll go through all the meetings, and then if it is empty, if the room meetings is not empty, then we are going to add it into the empty rooms. And then there will be two conditions. One of them is we should wait. At the time of waiting, we should wait for this particular time, and then we'll add the duration and we'll allocate the room. And then if we have empty rooms, then we'll pick the least room number, and then we'll add it to the number of meetings, and then we'll add it into the room meeting. And then at last we are going to calculate the answer by visiting all the rooms, and then by seeing the number of meetings which are present. So the time complexity for this is going to be, as we are going through all the meetings, it will be n, and then there can be insertion and then deletion for the particular priority queue. So for insertion it will be log n. So the time complexity is going to be n log n, and then the space complexity is n. Why? Because we are storing in the priority queue and then one more priority queue. So the time will be big of n log n, and then space will be big O of n. So this is the space and time complexity. Yeah, that's all for this. Thanks for watching the video.